Hello Internet. I recently got myself this vintage Toshiba laptop. I thought I'd do a quick overview of it, see how the hardware is, see how it compares to modern technology and how far we've come in the last 20 years. So, as you can see by the top, it's a Toshiba T1960CT. There was another one called, which was the T1960CS, which was like a lower end model. This is a higher end model. This came out in 1993 and 1994, so it's about 21 years old. So, just go over the hardware quickly. So, on the front here, this is the battery. It's user removable and user replaceable. And then you've got a 3.5-inch floppy drive, which is pretty standard. I'll just pop the battery out and show you that, because it's pretty interesting. Hold up the camera so you can see it's a... Let me adjust the focus here. Nickel metal hydride pack, 12 volts, 2400 milliamp hours. It's about 30 watt hours, and for comparison, this is about 30 watt hours of modern lithium technology. So you've got these, move this out of the way, 30 watt hours or 30 watt hours. So battery technology's come a long way. This pack is unfortunately completely dead. It won't take a charge anymore. But for a 20-year-old battery, that's pretty much what to be expected. I'm hoping I can like pop this open, maybe stick some of these kind of batteries inside and get it to hold the charge again, so I can actually, use this as a laptop. Put that back in. Oh, come on. There we go. So if I tilt this around here, it's just got the power input, the power button, and then this is the latch that releases the battery. Not much on that side. Around the back, we've got a VGA video output port, a parallel port, and a serial data port, and a Kensington lock slot. And then around this side, we've got this little flap here which reveals this little port. I'm not sure what it's for. It looks proprietary. Lowering this little latch, you got a PS2 mouse and PS2 keyboard input. And then underneath here is just a PC MCIA expansion card bus slot. And that's it. No USB, no Ethernet, not even a 56K modem. This thing pretty much predates the internet at home. So yeah, flip it around. Open up the lid so you can get a look at the screen and keyboard. Yeah. So it's got an 8-inch 640 by 480 TFT display. The cheaper one had an STN display, which has a lot of issues with motion blur and refresh rates. So this one's definitely higher end. It looks pretty good for its age. And then we've just got mechanical keyboard here. It's in pretty good shape. All the keys work. They're a bit worn out, but otherwise they're fine. There's no trackpad, there's no trackball, and there's not even that little nub thing that was on some Dells. Or if you don't have an external mouse, there's no mouse input on this machine. So I'll just plug it in now and give it a boot up, and while it boots up, I'll list what the specifications of this particular model are. Let's get that in, power it up. Alright, so this particular model has a 50 megahertz Intel 486 CPU. It had 4 megabytes of RAM soldered right to the logic board, but you can upgrade it to 20 megabytes. This one has a 320 megabyte hard disk drive and a 256 kilobyte video memory. Now, over here on this little slot, under here is where you put in RAM, and once it's finished booting up, I'll show you the RAM because it's pretty interesting. Yeah, it's got Windows 95 on it. It could run Windows 98 if it had more RAM. It's got 12 megs right now, and I think you need like 16 for Windows 98. But it boots up fine. Screen's clear, there's no problems. There's no software on it, unfortunately. I don't have a floppy drive on any other machine, so I can't do any data transfers right now. But yeah, it works fine. You can still navigate all the menus via the keyboard. Everything's good. So let's shut it down so I can pull out the RAM and show that off, because it's pretty interesting as well. Shuts down in like half a second, which is nice. And then you just power it off. Now what's interesting is if you open this latch here, pull on this little plastic tab, which is a bit tricky, you can actually pull out the RAM, which is this PCMCIA type card, not a SODIMM, which is very interesting. It's just got pins, 8 whole megabytes, 3.3 volts, Kingston. I find it interesting because now you could never get away with using like what's essentially flash memory as RAM. It's just not fast enough. But back then, I guess the demands on the RAM weren't as much, and the interfaces weren't as, I guess, dissimilar. So you can easily just insert RAM by sliding in a PCMCI slot. And I'd love to get a bigger card for it, but unfortunately, it's not a very common method of, RAM. So finding them on the internet is a pretty difficult challenge. I've only been able to find 2 megabyte and 6 megabyte cards. But if I get like a 12 megabyte card, I'd be able to put Windows 98 on here, and I'd be able to do a bit more with it, because as it is, it can't really do USB or much networking capability, or even getting a sound card put in. But still, it's a nice little laptop, and it'll be fun to play like Doom and all those older DOS games on it. So yeah, old technology. Surprisingly impressive for its time.